Everybody, are all your mics working? We want to be sure that we can hear
Hello?
everybody.
Hello, hello.
Hello? Diana, we all right on
Yep,
that?
you're good.
Okay. Roll call. Here is Jan Bierce is here, Bob Geppert, Rhonda Ponte, Phil Measy. We have a quorum.
And I make a motion that we recognize Nancy Hall on the phone.
Nancy Olson.
Oh, Nancy Olson.
Yeah.
Second.
Second. Moved and seconded that we allow Nancy Olson to vote with us. All in favor?
Aye.
Carries. Nancy, you're part of the fray here.
Okay.
Good. Like to move to the approval of the, we seem to just struggle with the approvals of these minutes. I struggle getting them. That's. I hope everybody's had a chance to look at them.
Yep, yes. No changes.
I do have, even having looked them over previously, I have a question. Bob, on page 5, we had this discussion of, Mr. Geppert moved to approve Copeland Southern Enterprises for projects, all those projects. Then discussion followed, and then there was a prior motion at the cost of $122,750. But if I add up those those things in the box, they don't come to $122,750. They come to $143,625. And I'm wondering, is there something extra in there?
No, just go to the highest number, but I guess I must have, wait a minute, let me think.
You want to take a quick look at that? to see-
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now, 33, 34, and 38. Well, we approved the spending up to the 122, so I'll live with that, and I'll work it out with Chris as to which one might have got.
Okay, but oh, okay.
We're okay. The approval wasn't, it's not gonna be an immediately spent money.
Yes, okay.
I'm just trying to stay ahead of the curve. So I probably got another proposal and I threw in at the end that I didn't realize.
Yeah, okay.
But we won't exceed the 122 until I'll identify it for
Okay.
Chris by email and then send it to Diane.
Send it.
So everybody's got a copy.
So we,
Yep.
and we can revise the minutes to reflect.
One of the problems that we had there, and I don't know that this was part of it at all, but we had approved 5 projects for Monticello
Yeah,
and 1 for Toscano, and the board had approved it.
Yeah.
But when the POs were written, only 3 of them were written for Breno and 1 for Monticello. So that created, at least in my goofy little world, a little confusion.
Yeah.
We finally got it ironed out, but I may have double submitted some things.
okay.
I don't think that's the case here, but
Okay.
we're moving along fine. We don't have any issues. We got plenty of
Okay.
money,
Okay,
so.
okay. Yeah, if you just work it out so we can get those
Yep,
correct.
Yep.
The other thing I noticed, it's really minor, over on page 7, the bullet said, Mr. Measy noted the capital reserve fund is already established and is voted on by the, and I think it should say GSCDD board rather than PPAC board. It's the last bullet in item 14, or the sub-bullet, I guess.
Yeah.
It says-
First bullet of item 14 last time, yep.
No, it's on page 7.
That's where I am.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah, 14, item 14.
First bullet,
First
so-
big bullet.
big
and then
bullet,
there's-
yeah.
There's 5 sub-bullets.
Yes.
the last circle.
Yeah.
The last circle, yeah. So that should say GSCDD. Okay, I'll entertain a motion that the minutes be
So made.
as corrected.
Seconded?
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, 5 to zip, that is approved. Okay. Financials, Nancy, anything in particular you need to tell us?
No, I don't have them in front of me.
Right.
They're on my phone, but I can't look at them. We're in pretty good shape. We've got plenty of excess cash, so nothing's changed. Everything was pretty much in line where it was before.
Okay,
We've approved the light pole, so that's in motion to get done. Jason's ordered now.
right. We are going to, we'll get to it in Jason's report, but we're going to have repairs to be done as a result of Irma. So we're going to have to discuss whether we can handle all of that as well. I think as part of the financial report, it would be appropriate to discuss the letter that I proposed that we send out to the community about fiscal year 2018 budget. And number one, I entertain any comments you may have as to whether you think we ought to even do this. But secondly, if you think we should, what changes and things do you think should be done? Bob, you had said that you think, and I think it's perfectly appropriate, rather than saying people should direct questions to either Nancy or me, that we say people should direct questions to any member and that we list all the members at the bottom.
Yeah.
So I think that's an appropriate change. It also seems to me that now, with Irma having occurred, and maybe we need to discuss this a bit, are there additional expenses that we may in some way be assessing to people? I'm not quite sure I know how that works. If we are going to have additional expenses, and, to Nancy Hall's question, she said, replacement cost, trees, light bulbs, should we say something in the letter to the effect that there may be, the budget was approved prior to Irma, and there may be some impacts that which we are, we don't know at this point.
Yeah, how did we address it in 12? I know somebody said there was a special assessment. I don't think it was us that did it, but I think.
Yeah, I don't know, does it?
But WCI did. I don't remember it either.
Does the CDD do special assessments? I don't know.
I thought it was, that one, at that time, I believe was handled by WCI.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
And
Well, yeah, that
somewhere
was
in
the-
all the things I've been reading.
Yeah,
The
they're,
Master Association.
Right, that's when
did
I say
something.
WCI, that's what I
Yeah,
meant.
no,
Yeah.
yeah, I suppose.
And
yes,
I-
and there,
Yeah.
I know there were extra assessments in 2005 for Charlie, because we were just moving in and we got slapped with
Yeah.
assessment. So
Right.
I clearly remember that, but again, that was I believe was a Master Association assessment.
I believe it was too.
Um,
And because I don't think I don't know, but we've never done a special assessment. PPAC has it.
Yeah.
I don't even know if the CDD does it. But rather than try and reinvent the wheel, if we have a system of the Master Association, I think we ought to channel all these costs to that my recommendation would be, that we channel the cost to the master to do these things.
To the degree that we can absorb it, though, we will probably do it.
Don't we
Uh,
have excess funds?
Well, we do, and that's
Well,
what
yeah,
Nancy
and-
just said. Nancy, we have excess funds, is that
Funds.
right?
We do have excess funds, and I'm just trying to scroll through and look at the balance sheet on my phone.
Okay.
But our unassigned excess funds are about $3 million.
Yeah, I mean, we've got that big.
Then I
Yeah,
guess
that's
I'd
the
be
bigger
okay
one.
with that.
That's the bigger one.
I mean,
But,
it seems to me.
But we still, we need to tell the community.
Yeah, right.
Exactly. We need to tell them, by the way, we have
And
an
there
excess
is, there's,
cost
well, I
of-
would say there's going to be a special assessment, and we expect to pay for it with our excess funds. Do it somewhere along that.
Yeah.
Because that way, when people are always asking, what's that money just sitting there for?
Yeah.
Well, now we'll tell them.
Bingo.
Yeah.
By the way, we used it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're gonna make a project that
Okay.
would have cost you $1,100 at home,
Mm-hmm.
but we got,
Okay.
Well, I have a question on that.
Yeah.
Who's capturing all the damages that occurred during Irma?
Jason is, and as a matter of fact, he's got a package of stuff that I think he may have handed to all of you.
You did?
yeah,
That-
I got it.
I didn't get one.
Huh?
Oh, the big thing, well, they were on the table, that's right.
No.
No, I didn't.
Oh, here, Bob, here's an extra.
Bob's got it.
Which summarizes, Jason, how much, do you know in summary how much all of this is? Did you add them up?
Those,
Yeah.
you know, I have some.
You
Less
have
than
no-
25.
The reason being, there's a couple different options.
25.
Oh,
Not
okay.
necessarily every-
Yeah, it's in the 25,000 range.
And this
Okay.
just includes common areas, it doesn't include the communities, the HOAs?
Yes. The lights in the communities are FBI.
Yeah, this is nothing more than lighting. This doesn't have all the trees that gotta be replaced and all the
That's
other stuff.
correct. That is just
Signs that were knocked
Yeah.
down.
It's just a start.
This is, that's
Light
right.
poles that are bending
The tip.
over?
Yes.
streetlights.
Yeah.
Do we have
Signage?
insurance that covers any of this?
Well, that's a question. Is there insurance that covers any of this? Jason, why don't you come forward to the,
Move the speaker to you.
yeah,
There you
There we
go.
go.
there you go.
There we go. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. Nancy, can you hear Jason?
Say something.
Say something.
Hi, Nancy.
Hi, Jason. I can hear him not real well, but I can hear him.
Okay. I guess the question came up, is there insurance to cover any of this? Do we know?
For the things that belong to CDD,
Yeah, we have
I believe so.
FMIT, and we're working, putting damage lists together, and they'll
Okay.
have some boots on the ground to go out and survey it, and they fine tune the
Okay.
estimates. And
Okay.
what I asked him is, the best thing is location and pictures.
Okay.
Sure.
Nancy, if you didn't catch Chris's comments, are you near a microphone, Chris? Yeah.
He's on.
Yeah.
Did you hear his comments?
Not very well.
Okay, we use, I'll repeat it, we use Florida Municipal Insurance Trust, and we're working with them right now, compiling a list of preliminary damages. They come out and do boots on the ground, go through it, and then basically hand you a spreadsheet of information and where you have estimated values, or they'll come in and fine tune those values. So, and pictures and location is the best thing.
Okay. Okay, so I guess that kind of answers our question, Jason, about insurance.
Yes.
And Nancy Hall's question as well. So some of the things may be insurable risks, but we probably want to move forward with them. I think we're in a position to do that.
Yeah, let me just, are you guys working together about that?
We've
In terms of
contacted,
passing
and I-
information, whatever
Right.
you need and so
Right.
forth, like you said, pictures and location and whatever.
Locations, yeah. And they haven't scheduled the field visit yet. When they do, then I'll work with them, and like I said, we'll do that, and then there'll be a final list submitted to
Okay.
them.
and
Well,
that's
yeah.
one of the things that I wanted to cover is how we're going to address strictly the invoices that I get, like from the debris cleanup and that sort of thing, that, for the approval process.
Yes.
Because, I mean, I've got just over $19,000 in invoices from debris cleanup.
Mhm.
We do have the street lights, we're gonna have the street signs.
Street lights, street signs,
And then.
trees,
Trees, yeah.
Right, and, yeah, I mean,
yeah.
not even going near any replacement at this point.
Right.
Just trying to get everything removed,
Mhm.
dangerous trees cut down that are leaning. We had some that were, hanging over homes that we had to get removed, things like that. As far as the removal of the debris, once it's been collected, I'm sure you've seen it in the common areas along the roadways. The city is supposed to be coming through and collecting that. When I spoke to them on Friday, it was on hold because everything was full. So it could be another week or so before they come out and do that. And one of the concerns on that, was that where this stuff is laying, we could lose the sod and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it would be a lot less expensive than having Ameriscape bring out trucks and haul it away.
Yeah.
So whichever way you guys.
And
like to
and I
proceed.
noticed, by the way, I guess Carol Brocky must be having some kind of a meeting with the city manager, because she's asked neighborhoods, as that was just this
Right.
morning, she sent an email asking the neighborhoods whether they which neighborhoods had had debris pickup and which had not. And she wants to get apparently a listing of that. And for the neighborhoods, I guess we all had to submit forms about.
Notarized.
Notarized forms.
Yeah, it
to
was
the
an
city,
authorization.
Giving them permission
To come
and
in
I guess
and then collect.
holding them harmless
That's
in
for
some way.
FEMA recovery funds.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it was a
That's for
right
FEMA.
of entry form. We
Right.
did one for the Master Association as well.
Okay.
And I confirmed with them that they would be doing common areas, but that's
Okay.
what they told me.
Yeah, yeah. Well, with regard then, getting back to the letter, it seems to me we can make some qualifying statements about, there will be extra expenses due to Irma, some of which were covered by insurance, the rest of which we're hopeful we can cover for funds that we have in reserve, but we don't have precise data.
Yeah, but
information.
just to let them know somebody's thinking about it.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. So getting back to the letter itself, is there anything people feel you want to change in it other than adding
Do we have a
that?
copy of it, Phil? I know I read one, but I don't have it in
Uh,
here.
It's in our emails, but,
It was in email.
Yeah, that I know I saw because we
Yeah.
talked about that.
yeah, but is that our handout?
Okay, it's not in the handout.
It's
I
not in
didn't
the
print it
handout.
out.
So I made all my comments then, although I can't,
Your only comment was adding the
Yeah.
names, which I think is a good one.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Any comments?
No.
Nancy,
I glanced at
Yeah.
it. I'll be honest, I didn't read it thoroughly because when I got back, I had 400 emails.
Yeah.
Oh.
All right.
Oh.
Did you have a chance, Nancy, to read this?
No,
I
sir.
did, I didn't have a copy with me to look at it again before today's meeting, but I do remember, thinking the only thing we needed to do was add the name. And I am also in favor of adding something about hurricane.
Okay. We could, maybe what I should do is maybe I'll revise this and we'll approve it at our next meeting, which is, huh?
It's only a week, right?
It's
Or
2 weeks.
Oh,
You
that's
want-
right.
you
Yeah,
want-
yeah,
you
right,
wanna
right.
wait,
I-
or-
Yeah, that's fine.
I was gonna say, my nickel's worth, get it out now.
Just get it out, yeah, yeah.
Well, revise it
Okay. if
based
you-
on.
Okay,
you know,
if you,
I mean,
if you,
that's-
if
Yeah,
you're,
and just-
if you're comfortable with it.
Yeah, and then just
Sure.
give it to Carl Baraki and let them do the
Yes.
distribution, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, if you're all comfortable with that, then we'll go forward on that basis.
Yep.
Okay.
I'm fine with that.
I'm sorry, hello?
I'm fine with that.
You're okay, okay. Then that's what I'll do, we'll
Yeah,
make the
we did.
change for the names and for the hurricane thing. and-
Everything.
And then, and we'll go out with it. Okay. Sounds good. All right. Move on to the next item, which is really, Jason, you want to step up and talk to us about what you got here, and then,
Hey, give me,
oh, I'm sorry, I stole yours. What the hell?
Smack them.
Yeah.
Okay, what you're looking at there is several invoices.
Jason, as much as you can, speak into the mic, it will help Nancy.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, there's several proposals there for the street lighting. It's broken out by area to help clear it up a little bit.
Me too, tree
The one on top is for there's 4 lights on Veneto, and that's for the repairs on those. That one's 180719.
Mhm.
And
Well, I don't want to nitpick, but Veneto's not ours yet, is it?
Venito?
Venito?
Well, yeah, Venito.
I didn't bring my map. I don't have it on the current
Yes,
checkout.
Venito, isn't Venito, doesn't that belong to
That's
WCI?
Lennar.
That's Lennar's. I believe, Jason, because one of their rationales for putting their signs on that street was that we don't own the property.
That's true.
good point.
I'll have to verify.
Yeah, so that one
That one
definitely
should go
needs-
their way.
Huh?
That should
Yeah,
go to.
yeah, I mean, they're putting their signs there.
Okay. Yeah, there's.
It's not a big item, it's just the point of it.
Yeah.
Right.
Um,
And that one had 2 of the upgraded lights, so that's why I didn't think it was theirs, but I will
Okay.
verify that.
Well, we probably upgraded everything without,
Looking
about
at
that
that,
real
but
closely.
that's okay, because ultimately.
We
it will
wanna be there
ours,
anyway.
and- Yeah.
pay me now or pay me later.
Do we have the same issue with Cypress Grove Drive?
Yeah, I separated out Cypress Grove for that reason, because
Mhm.
I knew that you had upgraded previously, but I didn't know if that was something that you would be considering redoing, or if we were gonna leave that to Lennar to handle.
Who's the second invoice for? What street? For $1,400?
Tree line?
Oh,
Tree line,
That's our
yes.
company.
That's
We
okay.
own it.
oh, that's where you're putting.
What
Got it.
that one
Duh.
is,
One moment.
that one is we're missing some acorn globes.
Mhm.
And what I had them do is, since we're doing the LED upgrades, we would strictly be putting those up with the upgraded LED light, you know, the upgrade kit,
Oh, I
rather than
see.
replacing
Once they're
what
up
was
there and
as
working,
well.
right,
Yes.
that makes sense.
That makes
It
sense.
saved us about another $1,400.
Okay. Okay.
That's that one. The next one is, well, actually, the next 2 is 2 different ways on Pelican Preserve Boulevard. The first one for 5692, you will see is for 6 of them that definitely need to be done. And then additionally, what they did is they gave me one for 16 poles, because a lot of those, what they're saying is, with the water getting into them,
Yeah.
with the rain, it breaks the warranty. So we could potentially lose them later or down the road. They can't guarantee anything. So I had him do the same thing, you know, the ones absolutely, and then potentially, if we're gonna do them.
So the 5692 and 10430 invoices are separate, one or the other?
One or the other,
That's
exactly.
their
Oh,
choice.
okay.
Exactly.
Well, why aren't
Oh.
the acorn globes waterproof? So
sorry?
why aren't the acorn globes waterproof to prevent water from going in there? If they know that's a weakness,
I,
I mean, how can they say rain is going to void a
Well, because
warranty?
some of them were damaged, though.
Well, damage is okay, I'm okay, but what I thought I heard was rain intrusion, water intrusion, might void a warranty. Well, they're not inside buildings, they're gonna get water intrusion.
true.
I mean,
This is what they.
If you
this
build
is what
something on the
they-
outside, duh, it's gonna rain.
Maybe 100-mile-an-hour limit on that.
Well, then,
Yeah.
don't be sympathetic.
I'm going to go back to the question. The governor declared the entire state of Florida a disaster area, and FEMA is granting money, I'm assuming, to community associations as well for the repairs required for the damages that Irma
That-
caused.
That's,
said they're
that's
gonna do
the,
that.
and that's
This will
the
be
question
included.
that I wanted to ask. If we go forward for these things and pay for them, that doesn't, we can preclude us being reimbursed, does it, if insurance covers it?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I wouldn't think so.
Yeah, I wouldn't think so
I
either.
wouldn't think so either.
We're just trying to get
that-
things
yeah.
back functioning.
So they're gonna be looking at, that's what Chris and company are gonna,
That's
and
part of what
Jason
they're
are gonna be
doing,
doing.
is to take this package, whatever we approve, and then submit it.
And not only this stuff, but all the other stuff that needs to be covered by insurance. But I agree with you, Jan, that's absolutely true, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But this is, should we do something now and then be reimbursed?
Well, then I withdraw my comments about Veneto and Cypress Grove.
Yeah,
Let us handle getting it done rather than wait for Lennar, and then we'll get it reimbursed.
well, and do we know we're getting reimbursed?
Well, I'm pretty sure we are. I feel very confident with all the FEMA money and everything else that's coming on. If we don't, if it isn't, then we can pursue them to get
FEMA
it.
doesn't have unlimited resources either.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they do. Yeah, they do. They'll pull all the idiots together and have a vote to increase the limit. No, they will. So I guess, this is focused on not who's paying, let's just get it repaired.
Well, I must admit, I'm a little bit antsy about doing that. My feeling is that if it involves Cypress Grove, your fear is it'll take forever for WCI to get.
Well, look how long it's taken them to convey. Think if it involves money.
I think if it puts any homes in any of our communities in jeopardy, we should go ahead and approve the repairs now, and keep our fingers and toes crossed that FEMA will come through and reimburse us. Someone's got to do the paperwork. Does Castle Group do that? Does CDD do that?
Well, yeah, Chris is gonna be
For
working on it.
CDD
CDD.
resources,
Joy,
yes.
Well,
more
but-
paperwork.
But would the CDD do it for Cypress Grove since they don't have legal responsibility yet?
It's not been conveyed yet.
Right.
Would they do it?
Probably not.
Probably not.
And you can look at the agreement for maintenance and operation
And it's-
that
yeah,
was, 6
so-
months ago
Yes, right.
executed, and see the responsible parties for each.
Edward, are the two Cypress Grove things the same sort of pick or choose?
Yes, exactly.
Okay. So the total amount we're talking about is about $6,000 or no, $9,000,
What is the
$10,000.
difference between the 5692 and the 10430? I'm trying to go
What if
through.
we do more comprehensive to avoid the
stuff.
warranty repair? This is basic minimum, and this is a little prevention in there. So it's an extra $4,000.
3,000 really.
And then the other one is
Either
about
or,
the
it's
same.
not both.
So 4, and it's $5,000 on the other one, so we're talking $9,000.
Nancy, is there somebody in the background on your end of this thing?
No, he's not.
Like, so somehow
back in the
we've
back
got
room?
somebody else who's somehow plugged into our conference call. Okay. All right, well, where are we?
I think if it's Cypress Grove, you should let Lennar take care of it. Especially since it doesn't appear that the CDD, and rightly
So,
so, would be
yeah.
putting the paperwork in for it.
Yeah,
And unfortunately, that goes through Veneta. They wouldn't be doing the paperwork for that either.
Jace, is this an either-or bill, like you give one to us, and if we don't want it, then it goes to Lennar?
Yeah, I mean, Lennar, since it hasn't been turned over, it's their responsibility. to
So they
get things
probably wouldn't even
working
have
and
a-
Done.
They would
Right.
probably not even notice an objection. They just take it along with all the other stuff they gotta do?
Yeah, except,
Assuming that that's their plan to get everything repaired, whether or
Yeah, I
not
would
they're
think
gonna
that Lennar
return
would
the
step up and
retrofit
take care of it.
upgrades to
The-
those
the-
lights, I don't know.
yeah, now, except when we talk Lennar, are we talking the Master Association? In other words, are the,
No.
are the residents gonna get hit either way?
I don't think so.
I
No.
don't think so.
I don't think so either.
I do.
They shouldn't.
I
I must
know.
be one. I do. Lennar's not gonna pay a thing. They'll pass it off to us.
Yeah.
They can't legally. If it's
No.
not been conveyed, it's their property.
Okay, but it's their property, but they still have an association out there. There's a big difference between the maintenance responsibilities that come to the CDD, that's one thing, and then the community responsibility was his HOA, because those people out there are part of the HOA.
Yeah, I guess.
The assets haven't been conveyed, you got to make that distinction.
Right, yeah.
We are gonna pay, the residents are gonna pay one way or the other. There's no
Yeah, I'm
getting
sure
away from
Lennar will
that.
find a way to return it.
Huh? Nancy's saying,
See how?
I don't either.
They're
I'm with
part,
Nancy.
they're part of the HOA, and that's where Lennar's gonna put the cost.
well, except that Lennar is now doing work on the ponds out there that they're absorbing, right? That
That's
we're not-
construction, and to get conveyed, yes. But let's,
Yeah,
I understand what you're coming from, and you might be absolutely correct.
yep,
My view is still is.
Let them do it.
Put it over on their side, and then see what happens.
I agree with that. I don't have any problem giving it to the
Yeah.
HOA, but I'm just saying it's still us.
Well,
yeah.
That was the
Well-
heart of Phil's question.
I understand we have varying viewpoints, and I respect that tremendously. I think it's healthy. Isn't there someone that can give us legal counsel on what Lennar is in
well-
response for absorbing on their own?
That-
We
that-
don't need to do that. What I'm saying is, it goes to Lennar, and how they pay it is how they pay it.
Correct.
It's the CDD, us, don't have a financial responsibility here, and we should just let it go,
Correct. I agree with that 100%.
okay?
Yeah, I
I
agree.
don't think
So
we need to get
so-
Tony Piers involved, because what's he gonna say? The CDD is or is not responsible? No, they're not. Then he's not gonna go ahead and go into Lennar's relationship with the HOA.
My
He's not
point
gonna
is,
do
if
that.
Lennar owns the assets, the bent streetlights, the trees, and everything else, they should not be passing that cost on to
I-
the
we
homeowner
agree-
if
we agree
those
with you.
areas haven't been conveyed.
We agree with you. We
Bob
agree with
says,
you.
yeah, but they're gonna do it anyway.
Right.
I believe they are.
And it may be.
Maybe.
But
then
that's
we-
not
then
our
we- then-
role
then
to
we-
fight that.
But then we
one way or
fight
the
with
other.
them, we fight with them when that happens.
And then maybe that's where
You may want to get,
Oh, I'm
stay
sorry.
close to
I'm
you,
sorry. Yeah.
so Nancy can hear a little better.
maybe that's where the Residents Alliance comes in. That they need to go verify that these bills are being paid by Lennar versus the Master Association. And represent us, the community, from that point of view, rather than us trying to do it.
Hmm?
Everything the Master Association pays comes through Jason.
Correct.
That's correct.
Yeah.
And so Jason will know
Yeah.
if these costs are being charged to the Master Association.
But what I envision happening, and I don't want to beat this thing to death, is Lennar's going to go to the HOA, there's three votes, the master, whatever, the board, and say, okay, we got all these street road repairs, we want to pay for it, 2 ayes, and Gary's going to say no, and the ayes pass, and they pay for it.
Could be.
It's totally legal, and that's what they do. I mean, they've got a history of this. But regardless, it might all be paid by FEMA, so
Well,
we're
I
we're
think-
beating this to
yeah.
death.
I-
Let's just move
but
on.
But I think we are agreed that at this point, we don't want to do the Cypress Grove Drive stuff,
Or the Veneto.
or the Veneto.
Okay.
Right.
Okay?
Okay?
So
and then
now we're,
Pelican Preserve Boulevard, that's us, and then we gotta decide which version.
And I think I will vote for the more expensive version.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
I will too, if they're waterproof.
yeah,
Well, I'd like to understand a little bit more about that. I mean, that just doesn't kind of make,
okay.
Doesn't make sense to
doesn't,
me.
yeah, it doesn't
So
feel the
we-
logic,
we've
past
got-
the logic.
It's like
We've
putting
got-
windows in without caulking.
So we've got actually 2 invoices that we want to
Yeah.
approve,
Tree
right?
line,
Huh?
Tree Line
The
Boulevard,
Tree Line Boulevard one for $1,400,
5 floors,
and the Pelican Preserve Boulevard one for
$10,430.
correct.
Yep.
430. Can I, Ron, you want to make a motion that we approve them?
So
Should it be determined that Veneto is included?
We'll come back in 2 weeks and we'll vote on it.
Got it.
Yeah,
It'll
yeah,
take,
yeah.
it'll
I
take
think-
about 2
works
weeks
for
for them
me.
to figure that
Yeah,
out.
yeah, yeah.
I'll second.
Second, moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so Jason, those 2 are approved for,
1,400 and the 10,430.
and the
Yep.
10,430. Okay?
With more to follow.
And I guess the question here, another question I would ask, do we have to go back to the board?
Not for these quantities, it's pretty small money.
That was
Isn't that within
Well, I
your
guess
realm?
we should ask that question, I
Yeah,
suppose.
we're-
Chris, oh, he's on the
Yeah,
phone.
he's on the phone.
When Chris gets off, we'll go and.
Maybe the
This is a
10-430
message.
might go beyond.
Do we need to go back to the Board of Supervisors to get them to prove this, since it's not a budget, it's not in the budget as
It's not in
such?
the budget or set.
It would, yeah, I could put it on an agenda, I'm working on them today, so
Okay.
for
Just
for
in
tomorrow
general,
for
I
the
mean, these
next.
specific ones, but raising the larger issue that when we get more of these kinds of bills in, do they want to approve all of them? Or give us permission to go ahead?
Okay, well, I can put that on the agenda and see how they
Yeah.
want to move forward
We have
with
some
it.
specific ones.
We have
and-
two
but we know
specific
there are more
ones
to
that we
follow.
just approved,
Okay,
and,
and that'll be the litmus test.
Yeah, because everybody's gonna go through the same thing, every
Yeah, 'cause,
neighborhood.
yeah,
Yeah.
all of Gateway's doing the same thing, obviously.
And Chris, in regards to the debris removal invoices that are, like I said, at around 20,000 that I've received so far.
Right.
I mean, obviously, that work has been done.
Yeah.
And if it's, see how they're gonna handle it, if it's CDD and it's, okay, this is where the debris came from and.
Yep.
yeah.
okay.
But I think there, some of the, if you have something blanket that's like, oh, we removed debris from Pelican, they're gonna go like, well, where in Pelican and who picked it up? And, I don't think they're gonna give a blanket.
And they're reasonable
Well,
questions.
Yeah,
That's
Yeah.
okay.
yeah.
And that's our
But,
conversation.
but they
take
need to know that
pictures
the
and-
work has been done, and then we
Right.
need to, if they want us to come back with the details.
And I'm sure that
that's fine.
detail's going to be needed by FEMA or whoever
Yeah.
we're trying to stick it with, so.
Absolutely,
Yep.
absolutely.
Yeah, and on the invoices, like I said, the ones I've received so far, they are clarifying the area that was done, the labor involved, the man-hours, all
That
of
just
that.
makes sense.
Yep.
So I'm just not sure, should I go ahead and process these invoices for payment? Do they need to go through the approval process? I'm
Well,
not sure
yeah,
what to do.
If you
because
wanna
the work's
sit
been
on them,
done.
if you wanna sit on them 9 more days, next Thursday will be the board meeting.
I think
so-
we should sit on it.
I don't think we have any option.
And that's still pretty timely.
Yeah.
I mean, we're
I-
within
yeah,
the first
no,
30.
that's fine. I just wanted to be clear that this has
Yeah,
already been done.
But they will be on the point is, Chris will put them on the agenda for
General
the
discussion.
May, or the October 5th, is it?
4th.
4th,
I'll include those with the two.
board
that they-
meeting.
Great.
Yep, and I'll put it on there and we'll start the paperwork flowing.
Okay.
Get the conversation.
Are you doing the same thing for what's going on here in Gateway now?
Well, right now, we're working through Florida Municipal Insurance Trust, and same thing, categorizing everything, and then they're gonna send boots on the ground, so I'll add that to that list, but
Okay.
we'll still bring it up, and, like I said, get a discussion going about it, because I'm sure some of the board members have the
You
same
mean-
questions you have.
You mean you haven't started cleaning up here yet? Is that what I
Oh,
think I
yeah.
heard?
We don't have invoices for it, though.
Oh, okay, all right.
And as
Okay.
far as any additional invoices like that for work that's already been done, I'll just send those over to you to add as we get them. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Jason, I guess we're now into, specifically your report. Anything else to report?
Well, additionally, I just got them this morning, so I couldn't print them, but I do have proposals for street signage, which I
Mhm.
think is needed yesterday, for stop signs that are down and things like that.
Yeah.
I have proposals for everything with the exception of one. There's going to be one more replacement sign. But right now, the amount is 2,400 to total.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
And that's to get everything back up. And that does not include Cypress Grove.
mhm.
Right.
It didn't go out there. It didn't,
Okay.
that's not our responsibility.
We should go ahead with those.
Do
Is
we
it
need
just
to-
tree line?
It's Pelican Preserve Boulevard, tree line,
There's at least one stop sign.
anything, the ones in the communities, not in Cypress Grove, that are
In
they're
neighborhoods
ours.
other than Cypress.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
there's a couple
Troutdale?
of-
So.
It's around 20 altogether.
So do you need you're already going forward with this?
No, I haven't done anything. I just got the proposal this morning.
Okay,
Because I went through the community with them last week.
okay.
Are those the
we need to-
decorative
Yeah, I
signs?
think we should.
Absolutely.
Stop signs.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
That's-
it's the consensus of the board that you've got permission to go forward with those, with those.
So that one would go to
Yep.
Yep,
same
And-
process, okay.
Yep.
And if I may, just for comparison, I know Mike Tisch, who handles our public works, has been getting quotes on the decorative signs and the replacements. And as a sideline with that too, the county's taken over Gateway Boulevard and Griffin.
yeah.
And though the signs are responsibility, but now they are county standard, so what's going up is your flat, straight county standard
geez.
stop
Okay.
pole.
Those silvery things?
Yes.
Well, they're ugly.
Yes, but that's their standard.
Okay.
And what the board will grapple with too is, okay, now you have the county road, that's the county standard. Are you gonna pay for the additional, decorative sign on there?
Okay.
Not a problem, and we have
We'd
to,
have to worry about it.
we don't have to worry about
Interesting to hear
it.
that conversation.
Yeah,
though.
yeah, okay.
I'm surprised they didn't automatically let you upgrade. I thought the county would be a minimum, but you could, improve.
Yeah,
Well, we may be upgrading them, but as of right now, to get them up for safety,
right,
it's
Yeah.
a county spec pole.
yeah. Jason, I guess so that the board would ask that you just kind of cross-rough with Michael Tisch to be sure that we're getting the,
You'd have another quote for you,
another
possibly.
quote.
Okay.
Okay.
Get the best
deal.
pricing.
Get the best pricing. Okay. Anything else?
No, not at the moment. The only thing, I would just want to clarify, you guys do want to wait for the potential debris cleanup through the city, correct? We do not want to proceed with the Mariscape
No.
removing that stuff.
That
Oh,
would-
yeah.
Yeah.
Wait for
Okay,
the city.
just wanted to
Oh, yeah, yeah.
make that clear.
Do we
Yeah.
have a time frame? Do you know?
When I spoke with them last, it was on hold. They said their time to start again was possibly Friday or Monday, the end of this week or next week. I'm going to call them again, of course, and make sure that
It
nothing's
was in today's
changed or it's
paper,
moved up.
one of the dump sites for landscaping kinds of things was full,
Yeah.
and they just got permission to add another 4 or 5 acres to their property. So things will loosen up again for a little while at least, until that fills up, so.
I'm just curious, do they not convert the debris, the tree and bush debris into mulch? Or do they just dump it as a whole?
Well,
We're
we-
not turning it into mulch.
Yeah, we
Ameriscape
don't
does
do
not.
that, but those sites do.
They probably.
The sites do?
Yeah, I believe that's
Okay,
what they
'cause
do
that-
with it.
That's a real space saver, and
Oh,
it's
yeah.
ecologically proper.
And I had a
Safer
comment
planet.
on that, depending on where those trees fell and what was in the road and what they've been soaked in. So some of those fallen trees and debris, you may not want the mulch in your yard.
Oh. Oh.
You have motor oil and chemicals and pesticides or whatever, it's been sitting in that water, flushed in. Some people will not take that mulch from storm debris.
I was just wondering for space
Oh, sure.
saving purposes.
I mean, the point is that they will turn it into mulch. It may be that just some people won't use it. Is that it?
Or they may end up burning it.
Yeah.
Well, that would be good, too.
All right.
Send it to the
Jason,
incinerator.
anything else?
That's all.
Okay, thank you.
Bonfire.
Thanks, Jason.
Cypress Grove conveyance issues.
Securitas, nothing for them?
Chris, we didn't have a member at, oh, that's right. Ryan, do you have
Yeah.
anything?
It's,
Why don't you
Yeah,
come
introduce
forward? I'm
yourself,
sorry.
please.
My apologies.
good morning. My name's Ryan Morris. I represent from Securitas. I just really quickly just wanted to let you folks know that we did implement our hurricane plan, as you know, on Thursday before the hurricane, which means we reduced the staffing to 12-hour shifts. We were in operation up until about 3 p.m. on Friday before the storm. We worked with Jason and his team to secure the gatehouse, remove gate arms and that kind of thing. We were then operational Wednesday following the storm. We again were at 12-hour shifts. We had a lot of staff members that were severely impacted by the storm. That way they could take extra time with their families, get things ready. And as of that following Monday, we were back to normal operations with 8-hour shifts. Thankfully, we didn't have any equipment damage or anything like that. Some of the vehicles did have some minor dents from flying debris. We're already working with the insurance company to get the vehicles back to normal. So that's my update for that.
Any
have-
questions?
I do. It's
Right.
actually not just for Securitas, it's also for Castle. But don't either one of you take this personally. Everything was closed at 2 o'clock on Thursday, 3 full days before the storm hit, leaving the residents, in many opinions, including mine, vulnerable to people coming in at will, no emergency number to call. Not that they could do anything, but we were left stranded. And I've heard a lot of people say they felt really abandoned by our property management company and our security company. So my question is, given that this was probably the first major storm many people have gone through, including the residents, should there be some sort of plan in the event we have a future storm like this to make sure that the residents have some sort of security measure, maybe 12 hours, 24 hours before the storm hits, some representative from the property management company that can help residents? I, for one, put up my hurricane shutters on Thursday, missing a panel. I called Lennar. They said, we're closed. You're going to have to call the company. I called the company. They promised they would bring one out the next day. They did not. There are 20 other homes that I've noticed that are missing a panel. Lennar's not owning up to it. I put out an email through our HOA and next door, and someone had an extra panel. I was able to put one up. But lots of people were left without any resource to go to in our community. So it's a concern that I've heard expressed over and over. So it's something I'd like both Securitas and Castle Group, I would like Lennar to address it, but I don't think they will, to address for future efforts. I understand everyone had a home to go to and families to make sure everything was safe, but we used to get storms up north, and we always had a contact number in case a tree fell on the roof. Not that you could do anything during the storm, but immediately following and before there were issues raised. So that's just a comment. People are upset
To
that they were left.
to add on to that, the community was really served well, extraordinarily well, by Residents Alliance. There should have been
yeah.
somebody in the paid organizations that would have stepped up and assisted in that. I totally agree with.
I wrote
Every
Carol
comment.
Brokey a note and I said, thank you for doing what Castle Management should have been doing. She kept us updated throughout the storm 10, 12 times a day. Phenomenal. So
Yeah, we
I think
weren't
it's a key
totally
point.
in the dark, but the wrong people were giving us the information. There should have been somebody within the paid organizations,
I agree.
so.
I kind of
I
recall,
just want
Go ahead, Nancy.
to add that, okay, we had a neighbor with the same issue Jan did. Their house was short panels, no place to get in contact with Lennar to get additional panels brought. And that was, you know, something that they didn't include with the homes that they should have.
I don't know whether Castle or Securitas could have done anything about that.
They couldn't, but the
Okay.
point is, Securitas was gone, Castle was gone. Lennar
Agreed.
said, we're closed.
Right.
You're on your own.
Well, let me go to that point. I kind of remember some years ago, and you weren't here at the time, that your company had indicated for an extra fee, they could have people available, not during the actual storm, but just before, just after, for security purposes, but there was be an extra charge for that. It wasn't part of the basic contract. Okay? Is that correct?
That is absolutely correct, and that was
Okay.
going to be one of my responses to
okay,
that was,
Okay, good.
perhaps we should look very closely at what the hurricane procedure is, and going forward, maybe make some recommendations and put language in there that would allow the staff to stay later and come back earlier, because we do have that ability at our company where we'll have reserve officers, basically. You reserve them ahead. They're on call. They'll do what they need to do for immediate protection during the storm, but then they'll be required to come back to the site within hours of landfall of the storm, passing. So we can easily look at that and put, the specifics to give more comfortability to the owners. Not necessarily that they'll be able to do much in a way as far as removing trees and providing panels, but be there as a presence, be an informational source for them if they have questions and concerns, things like that.
Even monitoring vendors that are coming in, like immediately following the storm, with the raised awareness of scam artists coming in.
Okay.
I think that.
Present that. I think
I think what the board is saying is that Securitas and Castle ought to run this up the chain in
Yep.
your organizations and come back with some recommendations that might make things.
Yeah,
try
I like
try
that,
to-
Ryan. I'd like to
Try
hear
to
that.
alleviate
Right.
some of the problems
Gives us
that we
choices.
went to.
We
So
also-
if you would,
Yeah.
go ahead, Ron. Yeah.
No, I was going to say, part of the issue is the master association is not the community association,
That is correct.
Right.
okay?
It's the builder.
I think if we had a master association run by the residents, you would have seen the master association doing some of the things that
Yes,
Carol was doing.
I agree with that.
They would have done that, I hope anyway,
Yeah.
they would have done that.
Yeah.
Because they're here. The
They're
part of the
us.
problem, you can't expect, again, you can pay for a lot of different things, but you can't expect Castle employees to do what Carol did. Okay, she was here, she was talking to neighbors, she was driving around.
I'm sorry,
In the
why
flooded
not?
area.
Why not?
For a price, they might do that. But you, as part of a basic contract, I don't think, I would expect them to do that. The master association, those 3 members on the master association, different question. Okay? I would expect them to do what Carol did. Because they are supposedly representing all of us. They're supposed to be there. Okay? If they want to pay Castle to do something, that's fine. Okay? But I don't think we should expect Castle to do the kinds of things that Carol did. Okay? I think we expect the master association to do those things, however they do it.
I disagree
Okay.
with you respectfully.
Right.
We pay Castle a lot of money, and I would expect some level of support, even minimal, right before the storm and right after the storm. But to be left abandoned for what, 6 days, 5 days, not
Yeah,
acceptable.
I agree with Jan.
Well, again, we're not going to resolve this today. In what as I said, I suggested is that, Jason, you run this up the flagpole with your management, and Ryan, you have some proposals that you could make to us, and come back to us and say, what are the things we could have done better that would be available.
Make it a
should-
teachable
should
moment.
another,
Yeah.
huh?
I think
Make
we
it a
can learn
teachable
from
moment.
this.
Yeah, should another storm.
Just as a side note, in regards to Castle, I mean, we were not gone for 6 days. We did have employees that could not be out there, couldn't get there because of their situations.
Get that.
But, I mean, we did have ones that did go out there. They were out there getting pictures, going through everything the next day. And the portfolio managers were responding to their individual communities. We do not handle every community in Pelican Reserve.
I know you don't.
Very few. So I just don't want it felt that there was no presence, that we abandoned you, even though it certainly is perceived that way, and that's something, that's what
Yeah.
I gotta fix.
Yeah.
So,
Well, unfortunately, perception's reality to a lot of
absolutely.
people,
No, and
so.
that's what
Yeah.
I'm saying, I agree.
Well, I think the point is well made, and I think we need to, to address it. So we thank you.
You also have to remember, after the storm, there wasn't power. There wasn't a way to communicate.
Yeah.
They had no internet. So even if they were there, they couldn't have communicated with the residents.
No,
Well,
Carol
we-
Brocky was sending out text messages and
Yeah,
emails, and
texting.
almost everyone has a cell phone, and if they don't, that's a shame.
I mean, Verizon was up and running, so text messages
Yeah.
were just fine,
Yeah.
you know?
And I was
Okay.
in Orlando, so I got everything that
Yeah,
Carol sent out.
I wasn't here, I was in a different state.
I was here and I got very little of them, but I did eventually get them.
Yeah.
But text messaging did work, if you had Verizon.
Yeah,
Verizon,
Verizon. I was
yeah.
Sprint,
Very
unfortunately.
true.
If you didn't have Verizon, you were in the
Okay,
dark, you're
that's-
absolutely correct.
Okay, well, in any event, these are all things that
Yep.
we need to address. Anything
you.
further, any further questions?
No, but I
or
would like to
comments?
see a revisit of that contract where we could get the enhanced
Yes,
support.
yes, and we're
Maybe
asking
for the next
that
meeting,
they
yeah.
come
Yep.
back.
That would be great.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay, not a
Okay.
problem. I
If we
do
can
that.
reassure the residents that this is the plan, and lots of lessons learned everywhere in every aspect of this, but these are two pivotal areas that are concerning residents that I've heard of, so,
Okay.
thank you.
Okay, thank you both. All right, we're on to Cypress Grove conveyance issues.
Well, that's
We
it.
didn't have a representative at the last meeting. Chris, maybe you could kind of update us on what's happened with regard to.
If anything, yeah.
If anything, with regard to conveyance.
With regards to conveyance, nothing's happened. Casella 1 and 2 was tabled, and at the last meeting, it wasn't even brought up. There wasn't anyone from Lennar there. And the only thing that's coming up at the next meeting schedule would be conveyance of the utility system, which is strictly the water and sewer for Matarita.
Are we going to accept the utility system with the sewage problem that we had with the pump station?
Well,
Or did that be built up?
the Prado and Pistoia are a certain problem. I'm getting some survey work, and I'm working that out right now with those stations, even though there's a very limited amount of homes that are on those systems. Those pump stations were running 24/7 and just full of stormwater. And I'll make that information available at the board meeting, but I've already informed the folks at Lennar that we're going to go out and smoke test those systems, and any leaks or anything we find, that they'll be fixed under warranty before we even consider
But they are
accepting.
part of what's being offered for conveyance?
Yes, sir. Oh, not the Prado and Pistoia,
Not-
it's
okay,
just
that's what those were.
Matarita.
This is
Got it.
Matarita.
Got it.
So, being somewhat new to all these technical issues, how does all the flooding we had at the very end of Matarita impact the conveyance of the utilities, including water? The drainage was insufficient.
Right.
The pond breached the bank and merged with the preserve, which was already filled with water,
Right.
leaking into people's homes. Is that a drainage issue?
Well, that would be a drainage issue in stormwater, but maybe not. You'd really have to go back and look at the engineering to design plans, because as I talked to the folks in Stony Brook, they had severe street flooding up there, as a number of communities did along Griffin, more so than on the other side of Gateway. But when you look at the engineering plans for Stony Brook, the roads were designed for a 5-year storm, the homes for a 100-year storm, and the ponds for a 25. So between the tropical storm, August 24th and 28th, which dumped 11, 12, 13 inches of rain, which at that point the ponds were full. And also then when the hurricane came in, basically, I'm not sure Matarita specifically, but Stony Brook, I said, your homes weren't designed to accommodate. The streets weren't. Of course, we didn't have any home flooding. They had some seepage, but that was more where they had a berm between the two houses that went in, and there was water going halfway up the driveway and close to people's garage doors. But, so I said, you've already exceeded the 100-year storm, and I said, it's interesting because when you go to Collier County, their streets are designed to the 25-year storm, not the 5-year storm. So that's, you may say, oh, well, this isn't acceptable or that. You may want to look at the engineering and the design and
Well-
see what it was
Well, we
designed
have
to
to do
handle.
We-
that. But the sewage stuff is what he was talking
Yeah,
about,
I'm-
not stormwater conveyance.
Yeah, I'm
Okay,
seeking.
so that's what those little guys are. They're planted every now and again throughout the community. There's little lights. They look like little space aliens, to be honest. They're these metal contraptions, and I've never seen them before. They were put up, I guess, between the storm and when I returned. But
I don't know what you're talking about.
they have a light on the top, and I don't know what they are, but they're all over Matarita.
Really?
Might be
There's
some kind
about
of
6 or
blow off
7.
or pressure valve. I'm not sure what you're talking about.
Well,
Okay.
I haven't seen it either, but
It's kind of weird.
Yeah, sounds weird.
So do berms impact the sewage? So if a berm needs to be lengthened or,
the sewage is when you flush your toilet,
yes,
not rainwater or anything else.
okay.
So
Yeah.
you don't want a berm holding your sewage. No, I'm serious.
no.
The sewage is all underground, it's flushing and stuff, as opposed to stormwater retention, which is the rain.
Okay, so I'm talking,
Don't mix them, that's all. Just-
Okay.
They're separate.
okay.
The
Yeah, and-
Matarita issue is a stormwater retention issue, and he's talking about
Water and sewer,
raw
yeah, just
sewage.
flushing your toilets and that. And we did have the pump station at Azura, that on that corner went underwater, but the rest of the tracks stayed above. So we're having that surveyed, because if it wasn't built according to plan and elevation, that was another issue I brought up.
There is a neighbor, they live right across the street from me,
Mm-hmm.
who has sewage that constantly comes up their toilets and their bathtubs. Yes, yes. And Lennar's not doing anything about it. Is that a separate homeowner issue?
No, well, you'd think I'd go out there and I'd pop the manhole and see, but if they constantly have it and everyone else isn't, I imagine they have a line or a lateral that's blocked going out to the system, because we didn't have any reports of any backups into any homes at all.
Well, they've had Lennar sent someone out so far 4 different times.
I haven't heard a thing about
Would that be a Mike Tisch? Could he help the homeowner?
Well, our utility system would look at it, but basically I'd go out to the street and pull the cap, and if it's clean, I'd say, you
Just
know,
send him an
you need to run a camera down your line.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or send it to me.
That's the first I've heard of any.
I'll give you the address of the house.
Yeah, well, and we can check it out, but they haven't called here. I mean, you sure it's us, not City of Fort Myers Utility?
They live across the street from me. It's Gateway.
Okay,
So I know Lennar has sent someone out several times.
Yeah.
And they've not satisfied them. She was so afraid. They're in Ohio now for doctor's tests. He's older, but we're all older. I always say that tongue in cheek,
I know.
older.
Right, exactly.
Sorry.
Okay, well,
To prevent the sewage,
well,
she
ask
covered
them.
every drain
right.
with something hard plastic and duct taped it so that the sewage couldn't get in.
that should not
I'd
have
have
anything to do
them,
with
I'd
the
have them
storms.
call here and put a work order in, and we'll
Right.
check the system of the street. Otherwise,
gonna do that.
I'd tell
Yeah.
homeowner to run a
Yeah.
camera down it and.
Yeah, because I know somebody in one of our communities in a villa who had a sewage problem, but it was their.
When I had it, it turned out to be tree roots.
Their individual.
They intruded.
Tree roots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, we don't have
Now,
that.
Okay.
you said
So-
that there were several houses or a few houses that actually got flood water in their homes?
Dave Matthews' house did.
Really?
Stormwater retention water,
Yeah,
yes.
actually.
Oh, yeah, we
got
had
into
some
their
on
house.
Viadana too,
Yeah.
where it
Oh,
went in the
really?
dwellings.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yes.
I never realized that we had homes that were actually full flooded.
Yes, we
He
did.
actually had water come up that floor plug we have.
Yeah, I'm trying to get a list of them, and I've got a
Okay.
partial list, but I'm working with Carol Brocky to get a complete list.
Okay.
Okay.
So,
Thank you.
Chris, but back to conveyance in general, there, nothing is, and is there anything on the agenda for conveyance of this, the upcoming meeting?
Just the Matarita
Just the
water and
Matarita.
sewer system. yeah.
Okay.
Well, so you're not left with the impression that nothing's happening. Tetra Tech is still going through all the videos and things,
Yes.
and they're doing it plot by plot. And I just got a message about a week ago where they gave Lennar a new punch list where either some pipes were not inspected, they were omitted in the inspection process, or there were problems that need to be addressed and repaired. So that list is still going very, very slowly, but it is still going along.
So this is, okay,
This is what I've
yeah,
been beating on them for months,
Yep.
to go and make sure every single pipe has been, and that's being done by Stephen Agape. He's only done 2 of the 5, but he's, making progress.
okay. So
Is there-
these are all the stormwater,
Yep.
Great.
This is the Cypress Grove, all the communities, not Prado and Pistoia.
Pistoia.
I'll never get that right.
Is there anything else we should be doing right now on the tracked out conveyance?
That was my,
Well, if anything comes up that we're getting ready to agenda, we'll send you the item, and, I have all your information on the landscaping.
You do.
And some of those deficiencies, and that issue's still up in the air, if Lennar's gonna
We've
address
got
them
the
or
issues on
not.
Casella.
Because we don't accept landscaping.
I know, it's not, but we've not been able to get a hold of the master landscaping plan because Lennar's not sharing it, and they know they're deficient in that. They told the Ameriscape to pull out anything that was dead and leave it because it looked better bare than with dead plants.
yeah,
Anyway,
okay. So that's one we have to keep working on.
okay.
Anything more on conveyance? WCI Lennar signs in Pelican Preserve Boulevard, believe it or not, that is still ongoing a little bit. Carol Brocky and I are meeting with the city manager tomorrow to discuss, what the rules are with regard to those signs.
'Cause there are
Even the
2 or
one, even the
3
ones that they've
left.
now put up, which are on their property, are there any rules? And we're trying
Okay.
to run that to the ground.
Okay.
There may be that they're perfectly within their rights to do what they did, but we're trying to run that down.
I think it's in the back office, that back,
I suspect that's what it is.
yeah,
Oh, is it?
backdrop
I
noise.
suspect it's the back office.
Oh.
Somebody's got an open
Mike back
mic
there.
or something back there.
Yeah,
We're far enough along.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah.
yeah,
All right.
we're hearing background stuff here. Are you hearing that too, Nancy?
It's kind of staticky.
Mm-hmm. But there's background.
Chatter.
Chatter, conversation.
I can't hear that.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't sound
I'm-
like
I'm-
an office.
We're good.
Back and check.
It's
Okay.
It's all right. Could you, Chris, don't disappear, because I think the next item involves you.
There's not a sound coming out of here.
There isn't?
Okay.
Okay, all right. It's coming
It's
from
across,
someplace
it's
else.
across line
Okay.
somewhere else.
Wow.
Ron?
Capital Reserve Study. We were making very good progress until Irma showed up. We had a couple of versions of the statement of work, the RFP, whatever terminology. And Chris was reviewing the last version of it, and then the storm showed up. So we haven't gotten back together again to see where we are, but I expect within the next week or so.
Sure. We'll get
He'll
together
get back
anytime.
to me. Hopefully, I don't know about the next meeting, but with a little bit of luck, maybe the next meeting, but certainly the one after that, we'll have a final product for you guys to approve.
Good.
Okay?
Okay.
And we can go ahead with that.
I just have a question that arises, Bob, and I sent you, when you sent in your GSCDD board meeting report, was Philip Rovner, was his, did we get that on the agenda, Chris, to approve him as a member of the,
Yep, that's going on the 4th.
it's going on the 4th?
Yeah, and
Okay.
I was going to walk it on at the last meeting, but
Yeah.
it was so abbreviated.
Oh,
I
yeah,
said, well,
that's
we'll
fine.
go ahead and
That's
move
fine.
it. Yes,
That's
sir.
fine. Okay, I just wanted to be sure that we got that done.
And if I may interject too, on the capital reserve study, also bringing forward proposals that we put in for a rate study that'll be coming up, which is basically the whole base of something like that is your capital expenditures and renewal and replacement cost. And we have 3 firms that submitted. We'll be recommending one. So over the next 6 months, the Gateway CDD will be doing a water and sewer rate evaluation and capital cost. And my comment to them was, I wouldn't take pride in saying you have the lowest water and wastewater rates in the area, because when you're selling irrigation water at 30 cents a thousand, not only are you not putting any money away to replace your pumps and piping system or even keep it in repair, but you certainly aren't sending a conservation message to anyone. So when you see people that are dumping 40,000 gallons a month on their landscaping at a home, and they don't care, $30, so what? I think the base tiers will go up, and those higher tiers, anything over a normal amount of use, will be heavily charged.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. One more note, I know you had sent Danny, I guess, an email about how we should handle the ponds as part of the reserve study.
Right.
Could you follow up with Danny and just see if he,
Okay.
everybody's been very busy.
That needs an engineering evaluation,
Yeah.
not,
Yeah.
right.
And just
I knew that,
touch base to see if,
that question is still up in the air, I know.
Yes.
Yeah.
As of our last,
yeah,
meeting. Okay.
if it should be part of the reserve study, and if so, how should we include it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And it's simple with the stormwater pipes, because they're either clean and work or they don't. With the ponds, when you get into bathymetrics and levels, it gets a little more
Yeah, the
complicated.
dredging
Well,
and
the
stuff like that,
question,
absolutely.
Do we need to put a reserve amount of money aside for
To eventually
anything
dredge.
associated?
A dredge.
Because we're told they have to be dredged every 40, 50 years
Yeah.
now.
And
We all
that's a
plan
lot
for
of
it.
money to do that.
Yes.
That's in the millions, as I recall you stating
Yep.
some time ago. So
Mhm.
No,
even though it's every 40 years, it still takes. a lot of
Eventually,
money.
it'll need to be done.
Well, 40 years for a resident at $10 a year is different than saying I need $4,000 from each one of you.
Correct,
Right,
exactly,
Today.
exactly. So,
Yep. So that, yeah, we need to get that done, even though none of us will be here. to see it
I'm gonna
happen,
be here.
Hopefully.
somewhere.
Right here. If somebody gives me my seat.
Okay.
Good.
I think the bond update regarding claim on funds, we don't have.
We do not have that.
Huh? Yeah.
I do not have that. Between Stephen and Danny,
Yep.
I know we're spending it. I'm pretty sure we've hit zero, but we're waiting.
You're waiting to see, okay. And Nancy Hall isn't with us here to opine on that one either. Board meeting report. Any questions of Bob? Chris, I guess, since we didn't have a representative at the last meeting, was there anything of note
No,
that
sir, you-
impacted Pelican Preserve?
No, sir. There was a very abbreviated agenda. We did have a presentation on the flooding issues and the stormwater conveyance issues, and I'd be happy to share that presentation with you. I have it in a PowerPoint, and we didn't have any issues with the flowway, and we had cleaned those and removed the fish barrier, but what we're doing right now is getting new elevation survey work done. Some of those weirs in different areas, when you pull the plans out, you see not constructed according to plans, so we're verifying elevations on those, and as we get that data together, we're going to go work with the Water Management District and the county to see if we can make some of these structures adjustable so that we can lower the water levels before a storm.
What you
That's
attempted
important.
to do on a kind of a quick basis
Yeah, with the pumps and all.
with the
Yeah.
pumps.
Yeah, and we opened a couple weirs a week before, and,
Yeah.
there was some minor, it dropped it a few inches, but nothing significant. The whole system is really gravity, and even when you open those weirs, it just kind of goes along.
The weirs that were open were in Gateway, so from a downstream perspective, that was negative to us in
Yeah.
a minor way, but
Yeah,
we couldn't do anything to uncork it below us.
Yeah, but looking at the weirs over in Casella and maybe further downstream and actually in
Well, we
this-
breached the top of the weir. I mean, it was ridiculous.
Yeah.
You have the curb or the concrete structure and then the weirs down here. The water was over the top.
yeah,
Oh, yeah, oh, yeah.
I mean, it was like it wasn't even there.
yeah.
No matter, how low that thing had been, we covered the top.
But the idea of being able to do it before the storm.
Well, that's what we wanted to do. That's what we were trying to do on
That
a
could
real
be
rush
very
basis.
useful.
We tried to get in a couple 30-inch pumps. And we may still pursue putting that infrastructure in,
Yeah, and,
because
I
it's
mean,
negligible cost.
Yeah,
But if we ever needed it in the future, we might be able to.
Actually,
And downstream, when you even look at the size of the culverts going under the interstate, which is, would be a huge undertaking to increase those, but also the 84-inch conveyances. We're getting divers to go in and check the profiles. Is there any blockage on either side of them down there? How much dirt's in them? Just to look over that. But
Because we have twin 84s under tree line.
yeah, I was gonna say, does that include the tree line?
Yes, sir.
ones?
Yes.
Good.
Yep, and again, just going in there and sending the camera through and go, okay, do you have any silt in the bottom of it? What's the profile coming out? Has it built
Right.
up a
We
little
may
bit?
find out our 84 is only 42.
Could be.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
that would be good to know.
And Bob, what would happen to, if you were pumping? Where do you send it?
We were going to pump it
Yeah,
to a point past the last weir.
ah,
So it would have between that last weir and the tree line opening. And the thought process was, at least we would lower the ponds. We would get the benefit of a 1-foot drop per 24 hours by pumping. Well, I thought we had 2 days. We actually had 3. If we could have dropped our ponds 3 foot,
yeah,
that would have been significant.
If those culverts on the tree line could have handled it, and I don't
Well,
know
at
how
that
much
point,
would
at that
have
point, we
backed up.
weren't flooded, so they
Yeah.
would have.
Yeah.
That was the part, was we were going to try to get the maximum amount there.
Yeah, the problem was that was so full because of the tropical storm.
It was
we
full,
had.
but it wasn't maxed out, so
Okay.
it would, I
So we could
believe
have
it would have
done-
worked.
We could
Yeah.
have done something.
I think it would have worked.
And I'll-
Was
I'll
it legal
share-
or not is another issue.
And I'll share that presentation
Thank
with
you.
you.
Okay,
because
yeah.
It's the same thing, some of these structures, they say, well, it's at 25 too. Well, was it really built like that? So Stantec's going to come in and do some survey for us, and while they're there, put in current benchmarks.
Yeah,
Because if you're going to go to the Water Management District and the county and discuss these things, you better have a big folder of hard data with you.
Yeah, now, we were told during the tropical storm event and Irma that Colonial had no road in the water, and that's not true. They did have flooded streets.
oh, they did.
Yes, I talked to Carl Brockie this week, and, but before we knew that, I told Extreme Divers to go clean the culvert behind Winn-Dixie. If that was thinking that may be a restriction, and we also were checking fish barriers, and I don't have the answer to that because it was underwater last time I checked. But we're still doing a lot of things to make sure that, but, when you get beyond the blockage, and that's where the emails are coming to everybody now, and I guess I'm going to jump ahead to the flooding issue. People are concerned that, and we are also, but if the system is working as designed, then the design needs to change. It needs to be enhanced. And that's all of the stuff that
And
I'm,
that's hard to do.
well, yeah, that's a much bigger issue than ponds or even CDD. That's a state of Florida, that's the Corps of Engineers. So I guess that's where we're going to go jointly in the future. Because some real money issues have to be decided. But when the 10-mile canal floods and 6-mile Cypress floods, we're all flooding.
That's it. I
And
mean, it's-
That's
people are
part of
saying
the
that's
problem
not
with that
acceptable.
conveyance, because everybody's
How many feet
dumping
above
into
sea
that
level
from
are we?
all sides, so it backs up.
Yeah, yeah.
Sure.
So, and we promised to put on a presentation for our residents this coming winter, so that everybody can unemotionally hear the real facts of it all.
That would be nice.
And there was one fellow didn't like the street flooding so much that was going on in Magnolia, and he's a PE, and told me, well, I'm going to ask your permission first, but I'm going to go out there and start pulling manholes. And I said, well, go right ahead. I said, but I'll call the sheriff, and I said, I'm sure your neighbors will file suit, because stormwater in the streets is one thing, sewer water in your house is quite another.
Totally different.
And we didn't have any backups into any homes anywhere in Gateway. The utility guys were running around with generators and pumps where the power was out, and it was a real balancing act, but the fact that he made a statement like that really surprised me.
He was only worried about his place, no one else's.
No.
A lot of people get
Okay.
that way.
Well, we got rid of most of the air in the sanitary sewers in Pelican. They saw the bubbles coming. We were together on one of the bubbles are coming up on the manhole cover.
Right.
Now, that could be bad if it's sewage, but it wasn't. It was just air. We evacuated all the air. Oh, yeah.
Sounds very
Okay. Let's move on to Pon's work group
Well,
report.
I really don't have anything.
No, okay.
Um,
Except
our-
that you're going to be working with,
Oh, yeah, we're gonna,
Everybody, yeah.
I'm working closely with Tinkle too, because whatever it is, gonna be
Yep.
comprehensive.
yep,
We are back to normal now in Pelican, and our downspout initiative is continuing. The contractor's showing up, he should have showed up today, or will show up today. I have not heard back from Lake Masters yet about the aeration, but I assume they're doing their homework in prep of that starting. So 2 weeks' time, I should have more information to tell you, but that should be going on. And as I already spoke to the conveyance issues, we're working through those with Tyler. So everything seems to be going along, plodding along. The one thing I haven't done yet is, prior to the flooding, in talking about cleaning, I had a meeting with Extreme Divers about getting a multi-year contract to do like a third of our catch basins every year. Just, it's a prophylactic measure. We'll just automatically do a third, a third, a third. So I may have a proposal at our next meeting. It looks like it would be about $40,000 to do that. We have allocated $100,000, so it's well within the budget to do it. And it's just got to get the whole ponds group together and decide,
so
what
you
we're
would
gonna
do, you would,
We have been focused since day one on cleaning pipes.
yeah, right,
And now we're convinced that most of our we know our pipes are clean.
right.
So then the issue doesn't become pipe cleaning. Now, if you keep the catch basins clean,
Uh-huh.
the pipe should never get dirty.
Mhm.
The catch basins run in depth from 12 inches to 36 inches. They're variable, and I don't know what the criteria is that the developer used to put them in. But the thought process is, if you, every third year or so, put somebody in there and evacuate whatever sediment is in that thing, then your pipes should always stay clean. So we're going to get into a mode where we just divide, we know how many we have. It's 225 in Old Pelican and some new number in New Pelican. So if you do 70 a year, every 3 years, you'll get them done. And we got one cost. I want to get Metower Environmental a chance to bid on that also. But whatever the better bid comes in, then we'll engage, and I'll bring to this group. We've already got it budgeted, and we'll just establish a relationship where they're done. The comments that I'm getting out of Viadana right now and Palazzo is that I should probably get in there and do those catch basins immediately, just to make sure that they're clean.
Mhm.
And we'll probably do that between now and our next meeting. But we're looking at it, in a logical, methodical way to do it.
Mhm.
That's all I got.
In your report, okay. We're on to Safety and Security Work Group. I sent all of you, I believe, our recommendation. And there are, 3 recommendations, 2 of which involve funds, a total of up to $14,000. The Safety and Security Work Group unanimously supports the idea of doing something on the bridge over on Pelican Reserve Boulevard. And also to enhance the crossings on at the Veneto and Pelican Reserve Boulevard.
Follow you guys wherever you go.
So,
Work with-
I guess my question to you, do you have questions on those two? I'd like to get on the other one
I-
separately.
I just have a thought on this.
Yeah.
I agree with the yellow line. Is there enough space on the bridge for two cars to go in either direction?
Yeah.
I must take up a whole lot of space when I cross over.
You mean in opposite directions?
Yes.
Yeah, simultaneous,
Yeah.
not two on one side, two on the
Yeah,
other.
they-
No.
No, you can, yeah, you can.
One car each
No
direction.
problem.
But slowly.
Get that. Trying to preserve the natural beauty of Pelican, and it is a beautiful community. Do we have to put signs up?
Well, we certainly have the strong feeling that the signs are needed because people are approaching, they're coming towards that bridge, and suddenly you're getting this narrowing down. And the markings, certainly the Safety and Security Work Group feels, we all agree that it needs to be marked carefully because people need to understand that they're coming to that slowing point and that you need the signs to enhance even the striping, to tell people that, to slow them down.
Have we had issues with people trying to pass on the bridge?
It's not so much
The pass.
passing,
It's
it's going fast
It's
over
going
the
fast,
bridge.
going over the bridge. The problem is that you're at 30 miles an hour and all of a sudden the speed limit drops to 15.
But you don't see
But you don't see-
15-mile-per-hour speed limit sign until 200 or 300 feet past the
Okay.
bridge.
Past the bridge.
Is when you see the first 15-mile-per-hour
Yeah.
speed limit.
So it needs to be, people need to know that that the speed limit is dropping at that point and the road is narrowing.
Okay.
I agree with, I don't want more signs.
Yeah.
My only comment is, the only people that are going over the bridge are the people that are going to a place they know. There's not gonna be strangers.
Well-
Occasionally, you may have a visitor.
You know, rarely, but I mean,
Yeah.
that's 95% or more are people that know.
Yeah.
Now, I'm gonna go with the recommendation, but I don't like it.
Mhm.
Just leave it at that.
Ditto.
Mhm.
The less signs, the better, I think.
Yes.
Truly. Just as an example, in Virginia, we used to use this resort out in Winchester. You came across a one-lane bridge. There were no signs anywhere on either side of the bridge. People instinctively knew, slow down, wait and see if there's anyone coming the other way, and they took turns, and there was never an issue. And I'd kind of like to see that happen in Pelican, if we can.
But what we found, what the traffic study indicated is people don't slow down.
And to me, the other concern is bicycles.
Bicycles, Nancy? Yeah.
Yeah, because with no signage, first of all, not only do you have the road narrowing, but you've lost the bicycle lane. So now you've got cars that need to be more aware that there's bikes there too, and they're saying safe.
Mm-hmm.
Is it wide enough to support a bike lane and 2 lanes?
No.
No.
Okay.
I don't
It's
think
not.
so.
So you've got, you got bicycles potentially going across there.
Right.
And we just felt, and the traffic study indicated that probably extra signage would be a thing to
Okay.
do. Jan, I certainly sympathize with your concern about too much signage in the community,
Right.
but we felt that was necessary.
Okay.
And then the higher visibility,
Put alligator crossing, that'll slow them down.
Python crossing, that'll really slow.
Yeah.
Yeah. And at Veneto Drive and the intersection of Pelican Reserve Boulevard and Veneto Drive, there are still people who are moving awful fast through that thing, and we felt that some additional things we could do, as you saw, if you if you had a chance to read the traffic study, there were 2 more elaborate recommendations made for that intersection, but we didn't feel they were justified.
Okay.
Well,
Hmm?
and then subsequent to this, we had the golf car accident up there too.
Yes.
Yeah, I happened to see that.
Hmm? You
Really?
saw it, huh?
I was there when that occurred.
Wow.
Can't believe it happened, but I saw it.
Yeah. So that whole, there's so much going on at that intersection. You got golf carts, you got four things coming in, it's,
And the golf carts are not in the traffic lane.
Right.
They come across from
Yeah.
the golf course.
Yeah.
So you've got like two separate intersections that crossing each other.
yeah, it's a tough place. The last thing is an old chestnut that we have been kicking around for a long time, and that is, golf cart and safety recommendations. And much of the stuff that we're proposing for the golf cart regulations is pretty straightforward stuff. The controversial thing is, where should the golf carts be traveling? There is no perfect answer, but on balance, as we indicated in the presentation, we feel that the 4-foot lane should be a bicycle lane, and that the golf cart should be traveling in the regular vehicle traffic lanes. That's the standing of the committee.
Did you get Jane to buy into that?
Well, interestingly enough, Bob, so that I wouldn't be accused of hiding things or anything,
No.
I sent Jane and Bill copies of everything that you received with regard to this issue, and I notified them that this meeting was occurring this morning, so that they could be here.
Okay, I'm good with it. I'm good with it.
And now, as I further indicated on there, we've got some legal stuff to go through here as to, we need Tony to look at this thing as to who has to approve it, but also the fact that, I think I indicated that the regulations were put out by the Master Association, not by the CDD, but that the CDD has jurisdiction over these roads. So there's a little bit of a complication there. The one other thing I would add is that Gary Neubauer made the recommendations on parking that we say, and the enforceability of some of this stuff, of course, is an issue, but that he sees a lot of people parking golf carts, not just on driveways, but, on lawns and places other than,
Really?
yeah. And that he thinks we ought to have something in there to say that you shouldn't be doing that effectively. Okay?
Okay.
No problem with that.
Do we need a motion that we
Yeah.
recommend adoption?
Yeah.
Okay, I make a motion that we accept the safety and security work groups traffic study report as written.
Okay.
Second.
Second. Any further discussion? Nancy, yeah.
Yeah, my only comment is enforcement. I still don't understand how we can enforce everything. Like, for example, people under 16 driving golf carts. I saw one who was switching calls in the middle of an intersection last week because he didn't stop at a stop sign. But there's no enforcement. I don't know how we can enforce
Well,
those rules.
and-
I'm in favor of them.
Yeah.
I
Comes
agree.
down to the adults in the community.
Yeah, it does. I mean, that's an issue. The reason we brought in we signed the contract with the Fort Myers Police Department was because we're having enforcement issues on people blowing through stop signs and driving too fast. Enforcement is an issue, and I don't know what the answer is, very frankly. But at least, if we have the rules in place, maybe we'll have more people obeying them. That was the theory of the case. Any other comments? All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Nancy? Okay, 5-0. The motion passes 5-0. Okay, we'll move on. Attendance schedule for the, we're already, let me get it.
I don't know who's doing the 5th, but I got that John
That's
is the
me.
meeting of the 19th.
Huh? John's the
October?
19th, and I'm doing the
What-
5th.
Oh, I didn't write that down. Okay,
Yeah.
Phil.
September, October?
Yeah,
Yep.
okay.
I would like to go into the next month, just so we're a
Okay.
month up on it.
So that's the second.
That, is it the second?
That's the first
and the
Thursday
16th.
and the 16th.
So there's
Second and
3
the
meetings in November, or did
No.
they skip the
No,
last
no,
one?
Only
they
two.
only have 2.
Yeah, even though this,
Okay, so it would be November 2nd. Do we have a volunteer?
since I blew the last one, I'll take
Okay,
that one.
Mr. DePonte on the 2nd.
Oh, wait on that,
What?
Ron.
Okay.
I would like to take that because I'm not sure I'm going to be here on the 23rd or the 16th.
Okay.
Fighting over them, I like it.
Yeah,
Okay. Okay, Jan will take the 2nd,
I'll do the 16th then.
and Ron will do the 16th. Okay. All right. And it may be by that time, Jan, maybe there may be something coming up on conveyance that,
Oh, I'm sure there will be.
yeah, okay. No audience to comment. Any other committee member requests?
What time is the CDD meeting? 3?
3.
3:00.
Yeah, I've shown up at 2 o'clock a couple of times.
Yeah.
Um,
So our next meeting will be the 12th.
Yeah, it's not related to that, but
Yeah.
one other piece of information. Did I convey to P-PAC that we were changing our pond maintenance company? I don't remember whether
No.
that,
You had mentioned you had
We-
an
we-
issue
we gave
with-
him a 30
That
day-
you- Yes, that you were not
Having
happy
issues.
with
we
it.
gave them the window, Chris
Right.
sent them a note saying we weren't happy. They're just not responding.
Okay,
So I sent Chris a note. The work group said we'd like to go back to Ameriscape. Ameriscape got their costs down. They're much closer to what we were paying, not
I was
Ameriscape,
gonna
I'm sorry,
say-
Aquagenics.
Aquagenics, yeah.
Aquagenics. And so as of October 1st, we are switching. And he's
Okay.
formally given them their 30 days notice, which they actually had 60 days to get
Yeah.
things, but they didn't. So I want to make
Okay.
sure that I covered that.
Oh, you have one question?
Yeah.
Who are the members on the HOA master board?
There's only one, Gary
Well,
Newbauer.
no, there
There's
two-
3
there-
people.
There are 3 people. 2 of them are Lennar people.
Right, and
Okay.
Gary
Newbauer.
David Caldwell and David Egypt. And then Gary
Gary.
Newbauer is our representative.
Now, did I see a note from Tony Perez, or a document that went to Tony from Lennar? It sounded like somebody was challenging some things. Did you all get a copy from Tony?
From Tony, no?
Yeah, Tony, Lennar gave him, one of these litigation type things, be advised that herein, we're gonna do this by then, if you don't do this, and I assumed it all had to do with conveyance. And have you seen anything like that? Because okay, I might have dreamt it, because I think I saw
Oh,
something.
no, that's not a good sign.
No,
You're
hey,
dreaming about Lennar.
oh, I dream about all kind of crap.
Well, they came in and were very unhappy about the conveyance and met with
Yep.
each of the board members on a one-on-one, basis to talk about that schedule and. at
Yeah, the
last
fact that it
meeting-
wasn't in the permit requirement and all this stuff, but I thought I saw something from their legal firm referencing those points. But as in most legal documents, when I finish reading it, I'm not quite sure what I read.
Yes. One other thing that I forgot to mention that relates to conveyance to a degree, and that is that they now have, Sienna has sent to the residents a proposal for from Lennar to build a sidewalk for them from their parking lot out, and also for WCI Lennar to be able to get, I guess it's a right-of-way or whatever, on the path, the part of the path.
That we've used for the last
that's-
15 years,
That
yeah.
Sienna has used.
So that's finally moving forward, good.
It's apparently moving forward. They have to get a quorum, or, a number of votes. They need to get 56 people, and then 3/4 of those 56 have to approve this thing, so.
Good luck with that.
When that occurs, the thing that drove all of this was, we were then gonna try and square up Trieste
corner.
and.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's, we
Well-
didn't budget any money to do that.
Well, we haven't budgeted any money to do
But
that. I think
we supposedly own the preserve, the CDD,
yeah.
right? That's
Maintenance
big.
responsibility, I don't know who owns them. We
Well-
have maintenance responsibility.
Okay. So they're gonna have an agreement with Lennar, yet Lennar has no ownership. So I don't
Well,
know
I,
how that
I,
works,
I,
quite
I thought,
frankly.
I thought Lennar was gonna convey that, eventually convey it to us.
Eventually,
Okay,
Yeah,
eventually, yes.
yeah.
But again,
but I thought they conveyed.
ownership
reserve
and maintenance
to us.
responsibilities are very, very,
Us to CD there, that,
yeah, we have we don't have any responsibility right now on preserves, none.
Mhm.
why,
Well, except
why
that
were we
there's two.
talking about replacing the bridges around the preserve? If we don't have any responsibility, I'm confused.
Because we have done it in the past. And we're going to get it eventually. I know.
Yeah.
Well, eventually, but
Yeah.
that's a big deal.
Yeah, that's a whole other can of worms. And there is a document from 2011 that says that specific path was conveyed to us. I do remember reading
Yeah,
that
yeah,
document.
yeah.
But we
Even though
don't have the
there's
preserve.
letters from Caldwell and Company
Absolutely.
saying that
We don't.
we don't.
Yes. Yes. Well, I'm not sure where we're going, but I think we were trying to square up Trieste.
Yeah, I.
So
I-
somebody's
we had-
gotta-
we
Well,
looked at
once,
that as a
once,
safety
once,
issue.
once this thing occurs,
Then that
we're
may
gonna- we're gonna
next.
have to address
And
it.
it's
We
not,
have to
it
address
should
it.
not be a big money thing to do,
Mm,
okay? Because it's just taking the path, instead
Yeah.
of having it curve, it goes straight up to the intersection.
Yeah,
So it shouldn't be a big money.
You're
issue.
very more optimistic about that than I am, but okay.
yeah.
Got to remove a lot of trees and
There
stuff.
may
and-
be, not a lot, I think there's one trade. that has to
No,
be
I haven't
removed.
looked at it, but I just
That's it.
assume.
I mean, yeah.
Okay.
Any further
'Cause I have
comments?
looked at it.
Okay. No, it's a
Any
ride
further
by.
questions, comments? I'd like to say to hour and 33 minutes.
Not
Pretty good.
not
Pretty
bad.
good, huh?
Yeah, if we keep
Yeah.
Nancy Olson on the phone, we'll be all right. She just can't come to meetings.
That's right, that's right. Okay.
Can't go through the plans.
uh, Take a motion to adjourn the meeting.
You got it?
Yay.
The
Seconded or
meeting-
whatever.
The meeting is adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you all.